Hi, Taurus. This is your reading for December, your astrology reading for December for all Taurus signs. And I always try to throw out there, if you're coming like Venus in Taurus, that I am not talking about love. Venus, for me, always is about your sensitivity. And whether that's positive or negative in the energies of where Venus would be for your emotional, mental, spiritual, physical life. And then I always try to remind everybody, if this is, if you're coming as, a Taurus sign, then this is your core energies, and we're looking at it from that point of view. But if this is also your ascending sign, we're still following these houses through from the 1st to the 12th, just like so. If you're a moon in Taurus, this is speaking more to you about your emotional depths, your subconscious depths, your subconscious becoming conscious. Because technically, there's always 5 charts going on for any one person at any one time. There's always your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, the universal chart, and transiting. So there's always a cycling of energy going on. Now, Taurus, whether you're sun, moon, rising, or Venus, the first thing Spirit is saying is you're kind of overcoming some of your own inner beast. Like your inner demons this year. You're overcoming them, or at least that's the goal here, is overcoming some of them. Finding a new level of transformational healing and reincarnation and returning to the true, real self by understanding exactly who and what that true, real self is. And when I say this year, I do mean like as we are coming all the way through 2020. Because Uranus has been in Taurus, but it's still going to be here all of this time. And, it's going to be here for several years. So this is definitely coming into a new level of understanding your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your inventive self, by it being in your very self-awareness. Some of this has to do with judgment that you base upon yourself, or family judgment, and what you believe that others tell you about yourself. But you're learning to be responsible to yourself, is what they're giving me. You're learning to be responsible to yourself and get past some of that hidden self, bringing back honor and reputation. Having the courage to overcome it in your very core, but also illuminate that third eye. By overcoming some of that self-judgment and that poor communication that you may have had with yourself in the past, is what they're saying. All right, now, with that being said, some of you are learning to overcome where you've put yourself down in suicide situations. This comes into self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, loving yourself right. And understanding whatever it was in the past that's hurt you or caused you so much pain. That's where you need to leave it. That's where you need to leave it and not bring it with you anymore. For whoever that I'm channeling then. That's the unconscious mind still trying to hold on to a life of something that's dead. Meaning you're not the person you once were, and you're stronger than that. But you have to will that. Believe it. Is that it? Okay. Last month, at the end of the month, I'm just going back a moment. At the end of the month, you have Cancer that moved in, not Cancer, what am I saying? You had Venus move in to Capricorn on the 25th. On the 26th, you had the new moon, which took place actually in Sagittarius, but it came off of a void, of course, of Scorpio. So that was a death rebirthing into a higher understanding. And when we get to where Scorpio and Sagittarius is, we'll take a better look at that. Now you have Neptune also that went direct on the 27th, but that doesn't really give it power. It's kind of was standing still for a hot minute, and it's kind of in its weakest energy until it comes out of that shadow mid-January. So is looking at darker aspects of stuff. Now, on December 2nd, Jupiter is moving into Capricorn. On the 9th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius, which is where we all are. We are always wherever the sun is. It's usually the house that we are walking through. So this is telling you this is all about communication for you this month. You have the full moon that takes place on the 12th in Cancer. However, Spirit keeps telling me so much Gemini and Taurus energy is coming with that full moon in Cancer. When we get there, we'll talk about it. Venus is moving into Aquarius on the 20th. So until the 20th, Venus is still in Capricorn. And Capricorn has bases loaded. I'll go over that in a moment too. You have the 21st is when the sun moves into Capricorn and then making it Capricorn season. You have the new moon and the solar eclipse taking place on the 26th in Capricorn. Mercury also moves into Capricorn on the 28th. Now, we are all walking through Sagittarius energy. For you, this is this is the 8th house. So right off the bat, you are definitely going to be looking at relationships this month. And what are the rules in these relationships? Are they fair, even, balanced, and just? Do they have joint finances, joint efforts, joint resources? And is there a form of transformational healing that can be made or not within these relationships by getting them back into balance? Or are they so out of whack that certain relationships are not able to be in balance? Now, I always say our relationships have everything to do with any and everything we care about, from our loved ones, our friendship, our loved ones, our friendships, our families, our children, our parents, our working environment. We have a relationship with our money. When we have no money, we know all about that relationship with the lack of money. When you have no car and no transportation, you know all about that relationship with that lack of transportation. Your relationships also are dealing with your open enemies. So what is going on in these relationships? And are they fair, honest, balanced, and just? Can transformational healing be made in them? Let's evaluate what the rules are to these relationships. Because that's where the sun is going to be until the 21st. So until the 21st, that's where your main focus is going to be being illuminated all month. And it's not getting along with your 11th house. Your goals, your dreams, your desires, the community, the larger groups. So if these relationships and these groups, these friends, these larger memberships, the community itself, if the rules of these relationships are not supporting your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, your true self-realization, being able to come forward, then they're not ones that were meant to be there anymore. Unless it's able to be healed and put back into balance. And you'll be noticing that right up until the 21st, when the sun moves into Cap, bringing that to your 9th house, to your actual higher self, because your higher self is calling for you to listen. Your higher self is calling for you to come into action. Remember, and that's also where you're going to have the new moon and the solar eclipse take place. But let's back up. Let's go back to your first house. Your first house right now has Taurus in it. Is Taurus. It has Uranus and Vesta in it. Uranus has been moving towards Eris, who I call Medusa, in your 12th house. It is Uranus is in your first house, but it has been moving towards Eris in your 12th house. Eris is trouble, toil, strife, and injustice. On top of hidden deception, hidden self-undoing, grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. So where is injustice? Where are you still sinking your teeth into the injustice and you won't let it go? The trouble, toil, and strife of it. Because it's actually keeping you from finding your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Your soul fire. This is where you're still holding on to your inner beast, your inner evil that's working against you. You're being asked to let go of that, to overcome that, to heal that, to release it, to surrender it, to let go of it. You're being asked to, in some cases, this is government for some people, government issues of some form, whether it's prison, whether it's government officials, government, I just wanted to say government suicide. Some of this is karmic lessons that are dealing with the government and made you feel grief, sorrow, shame, or blame. Made you feel smaller than what you were. And this is saying it's time to let go of that idea. No longer hold on to that. Stop sinking your teeth into that injustice. Bring back your self-awareness. Bring back your inner illumination, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, and invent yourself again. This is pretty much what this energy is speaking to you of. And learning how to figure out who your true authentic self is and bring that into tangible reality by inventing it, bringing it so, by having self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. So this is overcoming that 12th house, period. And where you're still holding on to trouble, toil, strife. You've got to stop sinking your teeth into that. There is nothing going on in your second house, but that first house has more than enough energy to be speaking to the second house of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, because it's already covering it. As you come into the third house, this is your communication zone. Don't forget, your communication zone also has Mercury in it. Because, okay, Mercury is now in Sagittarius, which for you is that 7th house of how you communicate, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's your 8th house. The rules, the walls, the responsibilities of the relationships. What are the rules of the relationships? Well, Mercury is there illuminating how you communicate. Your 3rd house is communication, ruled by Mercury, which happens to be in that 8th house. Okay? So this is asking you to get your details correct, to get your intel correct, your intellect correct. Make sure that you have your delivery system, the messages and the communication correct, and understand how you're communicating with yourself about those rules, walls, and boundaries within those relationships, and what the rules are to those relationships, so that you are giving yourself your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and you're making it fair, balanced, and just. More or less, that is what is going on all the way across the board on that. Now, in your 5th house, your 5th and your 6th house, no, your 4th and your 5th house, which is your inner emotional security and your creativity, your creative expression. How you talk is your creative expression, and how you're communicating your inner emotional security. You don't have anything here right now. You don't have anything here right now to go forward for it or against it, other than understanding that 5th house for you happens to be that creative expression. It happens to be where the inner child is trying to find its pursuit of pleasure, trying to find its enjoyment in life and fun in life. Regulus has moved into Virgo, which happens to be that 5th house. It's been there for a while, but I'm being reminded by Spirit that Regulus is not going to be moving out anytime soon. It takes 77 years for it to move through 1 degree. So for the rest of your life, your inner emotional security and your creative expression counts on The fact that Regulus is here saying, I brought the heart of the lion to this. Because that's what Regulus is, the lion heart. And it's asking you to have courage. To have courage and to strengthen the organization within what works for your inner emotional security so that you can enjoy life. Taking time for the things that you enjoy in life. Not putting yourself on the back burner so that this and this and this can be done. This is saying you have the responsibility to yourself to bring you up to that balance. To give yourself that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. To give yourself the right to express that fun, that joy, that creative expression. Allowing that inner child to come out. This is personal interests, hobbies, dating, romance, sex. This is things that make us enjoy what we live every day. And are you taking the time to bring that to you? Because without that, there is no inner emotional security. That's the heart of the lion saying, you want the world outside of you to be good, but you also want it to be good for you. And you're just as important. Now, as you come into the 6th house, this is Libra. Libra is the collective consciousness right now, and Ura is here. This is asking the collective consciousness to honestly balance, harmony and balance for justice, the sacrifice and commitment it takes within the daily work, the daily routine, our everyday daily tasks, the mundane that you overlook and you don't think is as important. Your daily health, diet, hygiene, physical appearance, physical ability, your ability to work, being able to work, the people, places, and things of energy that you consume in these everyday mundane tasks are way more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And this is Libra. This is saying, in these daily tasks, are you taking time for you? Sacrifice and commitment for balance. This is saying I'm not going to be below anymore. I'm not necessarily going to be above, but I'm damn sure I'm going to be even. I'm damn sure going to be, equal. I'm not going to necessarily be above or below, but I'm going to give myself enough self-love to love me without having to put myself down and allow the world around me to do better than what I'm doing because I gave them that power. No. This is saying the daily routines, your daily everyday tasks, the people, places, and things that are in these daily routines. Are you consuming the energy that supports your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem? Or are you working in energies that neglect it? Because with Ura here, this is asking you to take the sacrifice and commitment to yourself and bring yourself into balance here. Now, as we come into Scorpio, that's the 7th house. This is also where all of the energies last month was taking place. Something about it should have been having a recycling, like an end of cycle and a beginning of a cycle. Something, an era that's coming to an end and a brand new one beginning. Because we have so much energy going on in Scorpio. And this is your relationship zone. This is the relationships, the partnerships. This is your contracts. This is your friends, your family, your parents, your loved ones, your children, your open enemies. Again, you have a relationship with any and everything you care about. When you're out of money, you know about that relationship with the money and being out of it. So any and everything that you care about still right now has Mars in it. This is asking you to take action and understand what actions need to be taken within these relationships. Mars is your inner warrior, but it is also your sacral chakra, how you feel about yourself. Bringing you right back to that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. How you feel about yourself. If you feel good about yourself and you have confidence within these relationships, then you're able to keep them in balance. And if not, then they're going against you. You're not supposed to be somebody else's keeper, and you're not you may be somebody's parent, yes, but you're not responsible for other people. You're only responsible for your part in these relationships. And you need to let them be responsible for their own. Are they healthy and nurturing you or not? As well as, are you healthy and nurturing them, but balanced? Because, like I said, the 8th house is where you have the sun, you have Mercury, and you have Pallas. And this is Sagittarius, where we're all walking through that Sagittarius energy right now. So again, it brings you right back to the communication. And are you speaking the communication the way it needs to be spoken, and understanding what you need to be speaking to the rules of these relationships? There should have been, like I said, last month we had the new moon there. And this is bringing up that recycling, that end of an era, beginning of a new. So this energy should have been coming into a brand new action, a new passion, a new aggression, a new fire. But it only is there if you're giving yourself that free will to speak and illuminate what the relationship's rules are and making them balanced. Now, the 9th house for you, the 9th house for you is your higher self. And this is where the new moon is going to take place on the 26th, as well as the solar eclipse. So this should be coming into a new realization of who you are. Your higher self is calling you to listen. Your higher self is calling you to speak up, to step up, to return to it. This is your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your higher self, your higher education, your higher wisdom. It's your psychic energy, your visions, intuition. It's also religion, law, and philosophy. And some of this is definitely for some of you. Like I said, some of you are dealing with some government stuff, because I'm definitely getting the laws are coming out for you. But this is where the solar eclipse and the new moon take place on the 26th in Capricorn. And at that time, the sun will be here. Venus all month is going to be speaking to you about where you're comfortable and uncomfortable with who you are, your higher self, your ethics and your morals, trying to tweak and make you understand where you're in a funk on it, where religion and philosophy are keeping you from believing in your higher self. Venus is going to be bringing sensitivity to it and making you either feel very good because you're in the right place, or you haven't gotten there yet and very uncomfortable and touchy about it. And she's doing that because you have Saturn here and Pluto here, which is death, decay, and destruction, for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. All of this is asking you to come closer to the higher self, to set the rules and the outer community to support that higher self coming into illumination, coming into core energies for you, helping you re-identify with that higher self. But that means there's part of that lower vibrational self that you need to let go of. Death, decay, and destruction, for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. That's Pluto. Saturn is bringing the rules, walls, and boundaries to it. Withholdings. Where are you withholding from yourself? Venus is bringing sensitivity into it. Ceres has moved in, bringing karma into it. Ceres is bringing karma into it, and she's also speaking to you about what part of yourself are you nurturing and what part of yourself are you neglecting. Jupiter comes in on the 2nd, bringing abundance to it in all levels. So this is definitely getting right with soul, getting right with soul, higher self, and, truthfully, the upper 4 chakras. Coming into helping rise, helping ascend, and overcoming yourself in order to do so. The sun is going to move in right before the eclipse, illuminating anything that's been missed, that Jupiter didn't bring enough abundance to you on, that Ceres didn't bring you enough threefold theory on, enough karmic energy, and showing you where you've been nurturing yourself or neglecting yourself. where the sensitivities didn't quite touch base well enough because Venus wasn't strong enough to get it through your thick head, is going to be brought to illumination come that new moon on the 26th. But this is a good thing because this is helping you overcome your lower vibrational self. Some of that ego that's kept you from getting right with self. So technically this is a good thing. But you may be getting hit a little under the belt to help you get right with self. Now, as you come into the 10th house, you don't have anything going on here until Venus moves in on the 20th. But this is where, if you've been working on yourself right, come just before that solar eclipse and that new moon, Venus is going to help strengthen your honor and your reputation, your prestige, your very career, and your outer professional world, helping bring financial success and social foundations to a stronger front. But if you haven't been right with yourself, she's going to be showing you when she moves into that reputation and that outer world of honor and prestige and professional career, social foundations, where they're out of whack just before you get to that eclipse energy and new moon, so you can set the energies after the new moon right. So this technically is a positive thing. Now, your 11th house, though, has Pisces in it. And Pisces, like I said, is at our weakest right now. And it's sitting on top of Lilith. It is where your dreams, your ambitions, your goals are. Where your true self-realization is. But Neptune is kind of looking at the darker aspects. Like I said, this is your inner evil, your inner demon, asking you, can I hold on to the resent, the trouble, the toil, the strife? I want to stick my teeth into it. And if you're doing that, it's going to keep you from getting to those goals, those ambitions, those dreams. The idea is to understand how to create the community that supports you by releasing the one that doesn't. Cling to the ones that are helpful, that actually support your true self-realization and where you want to go, not who you've been. And for the ones that are holding on to who you've been and that trouble, toil, and strife that's making you want to act up and smack them around, Taurus bull, this is telling you where you're going in the wrong direction. Because the idea is for the goals, the ambitions, the dreams, the true self-realization to come forward. So we want to move towards what does support us, not what doesn't. We want to just get rid of that and move away from it. And this happens to do with having the right community, the right friends, the right groups and memberships in your life. Again, bringing you back to that 6th house of the people, places, and things that you consume of energy. Do they nurture you or neglect you? And you need to understand how that works for you. As you come in to your 12th house, this is why that inner beast is still out, sinking its teeth in. This Chiron is the wounded healer who's trying to heal that 12th house. Your subconscious becoming conscious. Your hidden self, your self-deception, your self-undoing, the self-sacrifices. The karmic debts that have to be paid of your grief, sorrow, shame, and blame that you hold on to because Medusa is there. Trouble, toil, and strife, where you still just want to stick it to them. That's ego. That's ego. I mean, if it's just going to tear you down so that you can tear somebody else down, why you keep walking down that road? This is about bringing healing to the grief, sorrow, shame, and blame, to the subconscious that still thinks it's less. This is about letting go of that. Not saying that I let go of it because, I give up, I surrender to it, fine. This is saying stop holding on to what doesn't serve you. Start working towards what does. I love you guys. Bye.